Hello beautiful learners, hopefully you're doing great and I'm also good by the grace of Almighty. So it's our day 25 and in this lesson we are going to practice IELTS listening practice test 25 with answers and proper explanation for achieving band 9. So before going to start our class, just give me a few seconds to check out the sound quality. Then I'll start the class. Okay.
You will hear a conversation between two friends arranging a holiday. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 4. You will see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this,
So I hope you can hear me as well as the audio track, and so it's time to start our class. So if we're going to start this session, just let's listen some instruction from him, then we'll start it. Okay.
this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Hi, Mike. It's
So now we are going to listen it for just the simple one, then we'll start with the real one. Okay, so here's the question, simple one. When Julie phones Mike is, so let's highlight it. Okay, on his lunch break, on his tea break in the morning. So we can see this one is highlighted, that means this one is the answer for sample one, but we need to listen it. Okay, let's listen it.
Julie. Listen, I know you're really busy, but we need to book our travel insurance. We're leaving in a couple of days after all.
Yeah, sure. I'm on my lunch break, so go ahead.
So he was saying he's on lunch break. Let's go ahead. Okay, so that means the answer should be option A. Okay, then let's move on to the first question. Which type of policy do they choose? Let's highlight some keyword for this question. Which type policy they choose? Okay, let's listen it.
Because you will not hear the record to 4.
I know you're really busy, but we need to book our travel insurance. We're leaving in a couple of days after all.
Yeah, sure. I'm on my lunch break, so go ahead.
Okay, well, my first question is what type of insurance do we need? I wasn't sure which to choose. Do we want the bronze, silver, gold, or platinum type of policy?
What's the difference?
Well, the first only covers medical expenses. The second covers medical and our baggage. And the gold, all of that, plus cancellation, and the platinum covers everything, including legal expenses.
Okay, well, if we're travelling in 2 days' time, we don't really need the cancellation policy, do we? What do you think?
Well, personally, the only thing that's really necessary is the medical cover.
Yeah, but would you think that if you had everything stolen?
Yeah, maybe you're right. Let's get the gold.
Sorry, don't you mean the silver? I thought we agreed that we don't need the cancellation cover.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Silver it is.
So, how much is that going?
So I hope you get the answer. Don't be confused with gold, because she was saying she was talking about gold, but at the last the boy was accepted with silver. So, and he was saying that, sorry, don't you mean the silver? I thought we agreed that we don't need to we don't need the cancellation cover. And the lady was saying, oh yeah, you're right, silver is silver it is. So that's the answer, silver, and option B. And let's move on to the next one. How much does the policy cost for group cover? How much cost for group cover? Let's listen it.
You're right. Silver it is.
So, how much is that going to cost us?
Well, there are two of us, so let's see. It's £25 for single cover and £40 for a group of up to 3 people.
But there are only two of us.
I know, but
So I hope you got the answer. So first she was saying that, well, there are two of us, so let's say it's like £25 for single cover and £40 for a group. So that's the answer would be £40. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. How will they pay? They pay, let's listen it.
but it's still cheaper than doing 2 individual policies. That would cost £50.
Okay, group cover it is.
Right. Now, how are we going to pay? If we pay by debit card, there'll be a 5% discount, but I only have a credit card, and there's a 2.5% charge for that. They don't have an office in central London, so we can't pay by cash.
Oh, really? What a pain.
Okay, well, I'll just have to use my credit card then.
Oh, great, that's sorted then.
So I hope you got the answer, because she was saying, well, I will just have to use my credit card then. Okay, so that's what the answer would be, option A. How much did the camera cost? Camera cost, let's highlight it and let's listen it.
What else is there?
Well, you know that new expensive camera you bought and you were hoping to take some great pictures with?
Yes?
Well, the policy only covers equipment up to the value of £200. And didn't you say it cost £1,000?
No, I bought it for $1,000.
Yeah, but that's still more than £200, isn't it?
Well,
So he was saying, no, I bought it for $1,000. So don't be confused with 1% dollar and 1% pound. This is pound sign. I think you know which one is pound sign and which one is dollar sign. Okay, so the answer would be option A, and that's we already selected. Okay, so here's the another instruction for us: no more than two words and a number for each answer. Okay, so travel insurance details. Okay, let's highlight this one, and we are allowed to here right here the 2 words and a number. Okay, so names, Mike Hood, and address. We are going to listen it. I'm sorry.
at the time that was around £500.
Before you hear the rest of
Online form, and then we'll be sorted.
Okay, what do you need to know?
Firstly, I need to make sure I've got your full name. It's Mike Wood, right?
Yep.
Right. Next, I need your address.
It's 17 Hanley Gardens. Hanley spelled Hanley.
Just writing.
Okay, he was saying it's 70 Henley, as he was saying, Hanly, Henley Gardens. Okay, GARD Gardens. Okay, now we are going to listen it. DOB. Let's highlight this one and blah blah. Format date, month, and year. Okay, let's keep it in your mind. Okay, so DOB means date of birth. First we have to write date and month and year. Okay, let's listen it.
Writing that down. 17 Hanley Street.
No, garden.
Henley. Okay, Henley was not correct. Henley, just need to add another E. Okay,
Oops, my mistake. Okay, what's your date of birth?
That's 230770.
that's 20 and 230770. So 230770. Okay, or you can just write it like this one. Okay, so let's move on. Emergency contact number. Let's highlight this one and let's listen it.
Right. So now I need an emergency contact number. It's your mobile, right?
Yes, it's 0793 245 098.
Was that 089?
No, 098. Anything else?
Well,
Okay, I hope you got the number correctly, but don't be confused that the girl was saying the last is it 089, but the man was saying no, it's 098. Okay, so O means 0, don't be confused. Main policy holder. Okay, let's listen it.
they need the main policyholder. Who would that be?
I think that would be you, since you're paying for it with your card.
Of course. So I just type in Julie Bennett. Hang on, just typing BENNETT. Okay, we're just typing B in Julie Bennett. Hang on, just typing BENNETT. Okay, we're
So she was saying his name is Julie Bennett, but she was saying okay, just type in. She was saying, hang on, just typing BENNET. So you don't need to write like Julie Bennett. You can just only write Bennett. Okay, like this one. Let's move on to the next one. Date of departure. Let's highlight this one and format date. Example like 2nd June. So this one to follow these rules.
we're just about done. All I need to do is enter the dates of departure and return.
Well, we leave on Friday, which is the 16th.
No, it isn't. It'll be the 17th.
Are you sure? Let me check my calendar. Oh, yes, the 17th.
Right. So Friday the 17th of July and returning on Friday the 31st.
Hang on. If we fly out on Friday the 31st in the evening...
So I hope you got the answer. She was saying this. So Friday the 17th of July. Okay. Now we're going to listen it for date of return. let's highlight this one and let's listen it. So we have to follow this example, like 2nd June, okay?
If we fly...
Friday the 31st.
Hang on. If we fly out on Friday the 31st in the evening, it'll be the morning of Saturday the 1st by the time we get back, with the time difference. We don't want our policy to run out before we land now.
Okay, so the date would be 1st August, okay? 1st August. Let me explain to you as he was saying. Hang on. If we fly out Friday the 31st in the evening, it will be the morning of Saturday the 1st by the time we get back with the time different. So 31st means this is end of July, and then it comes August. Okay, that's what the answer would be, 1st August. Okay, so that's all about part 1. Now let's move on to part 2. So here's the question. Humans have long been using the stars to navigate rivers, draw sea maps, sail long distance. Okay, humans have long been using the stars.
Or do we?
No, we don't.
Now listen and answer questions 11 to 15.
Could I have your attention, please? Gather round, gather round. My name is Patricia, and I'll be your guide around the Sydney Observatory.
Now listen and answer questions 11 to 15.
Could I have your attention, please? Gather round, gather round. My name is Patricia, and I'll be your guide around the Sydney Observatory. Now, as you all will know, man has been interested in the night sky for a very long time. Indeed, before the invention of the compass, it was used by sailors to navigate their way across the world's oceans. A kind of star map, you could say. Now,
Okay, the answer would be option C. Let me explain to you. Okay, sail long distance. Sail long distance. As she was saying, it was used by sailors to navigate their way across the world's oceans. A kind of stars map, you could say. So listen to me carefully. She was saying it was used by sailors. So it was used by sailors to navigate their way across the world. So that means sail long distance. Okay, that's what the answer would be, this one. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. The building constructed by the first Europeans at the observatory was a village, a windmill, a factor, a port. Okay, so the building constructed by the first European, the building constructed by first Europeans at the observatory was blah blah. Let's listen it.
the site of the museum on Observatory Hill has its own interesting story. Before the colonisers arrived, it belonged to the Cadigal people, who may have even viewed the arrival of the new visitors from here, as this is the highest natural point in Sydney Harbour. The early Europeans then built a windmill on the site, though it didn't last for long due to its exposed position. A little
I hope you got the answer. As she was saying, a windmill on the site, though it did not last for long due to its exposed position. Let me explain it to you again. She was saying um, the highest natural point in Sydney. However, the early Europeans then built a windmill. So that's why the answer would be windmill. Okay, mill. So let's move on to the next one. In the cloakroom, people are advised not to leave. Let's highlight this one. Not to leave coats, expensive items, baggage. Let's listen it.
while after that, the land was used to build a fort, which was to finally become the observatory that you see before you today. Now, let's take a look inside. To the left of the main entrance is the cloakroom, where you can leave your coats and bags. But please make sure you don't leave any mobiles or valuables, as staff cannot be held responsible.
Okay, let me explain to you why I chose option B. Let's explain it. Okay, she was saying that you don't leave any mobiles. Okay, let me explain it from the first. She was saying to left of the main entrance is the cloakroom, where you can leave your coats and bags, but please make sure you didn't leave any mobile or valuable, as staff cannot be held responsible. So valuable and expensive are similar word. Okay, that's why the answer is option B, and that's already selected. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The museum does not allow visitors to stay after 5:30 or 5:15 or 4:30. Okay, let's listen it, and let's highlight some keyword for this question. Museum does not allow visitor. Museum, okay, not allow visitor to stay after. Okay, let's listen
The
it.
museum is open during the day until 5 p.m, so please collect belongings no later than 5:15, and please vacate the building by 5:30. No new admissions will be allowed.
Okay, I hope you got the answer. She was saying please collect uh, belongings and no later than 5:15, and please book it. Book it means leave. Book it means leave, or just um, like make this place empty. Okay, so book it the place building. Book it the building by 5:30. So that means people are not allowed to be there after 5:30. Okay, anyhow, now let's move on to the next one. The family ticket allows entrance to 4 adults only, 3 adults on, and 3 children, or 2 adults and 2 children. Let's listen it.
out after 4:30 p.m. After you've left your personal items, you'll need to buy your tickets from the ticket desk immediately behind you, before continuing on the rest of the tour. The normal price is $8 for an adult and $6 for a child, though groups of up to 4 people can save money by buying a family ticket. This must contain at least 1 adult and 1 child, but no more than 2 children per adult. I'll wait for you on the other
So she was saying the groups of up to 4 people can save money by buying a family. This must contain at least 1 adult and 1 child, but no more than 2 children per adult. 2 children per adult. So 1 adult and no more than 2. So 2 children. Two children per adults. Okay, so I should select this one. 2 children, okay, per adults. So per adults and 2 children. So you are allowed to just take 2 children. Okay, that's the answer would be option C, and that's I already selected. Now there is another type of question. Let's look it. Okay, choose 5 answers from the box and write the correct letter A to F next to question 16 to 20. Okay, which attraction match the question? Let's zoom out it. Okay, here we can see attractions, and attractions are powerhouse, sound house, discovery center, and less study center, vector lab, observatory. Okay, so let's look at first question number 2016. Sorry, 16. Which of the tickets gives people a discount? Let's listen it.
Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
So, I hope you enjoyed the tour. But before I leave you, I just want to draw your attention to one more thing. Your observatory ticket also entitles you to visit another of Sydney's famous sites at a 50% discount.
Okay, so she was saying your observatory ticket also entitles you to visit another of Sydney's famous site at a 50%. So observatory, where is observatory? Okay, this one. So option F would be for question number 16. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. Which of the venues is located near the recreation area for children? Let's highlight this one and let's listen it. Oh, what's okay? The website is maybe playing tricks on me. Let's listen the answer, but we cannot select this answer as this is a problem with their website. So we can just find the answer. Okay, let's listen it.
Find lots on to keep the children entertained. For example, they've got sound workshops, where you can have a go at being a DJ. This is called the Sound House, and you'll find it up on the second floor, just after the kids' playground.
So the answer would be option B, but we cannot choose this one because it's a problem with their website. But the answer would be B for question number 17. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. Which part should people visit if they are interested in clothes? People interested in clothes should visit which? Let's listen it.
Look for signs for the Vector Lab workshops if you get lost. For those of you interested in fashion and design, the Lace Study Centre should not be missed. You'll get the chance to look at one of the country's best collections all in one place. However, like most museums, only a fraction of their collections are actually on display. But in the museum's unique Discovery Centre,
So she was saying for those of you interested in fashion and design, the Lake Study Center should not be missed. So the answer should be this one, means D. At question number 18. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Which part offers an unusual service for museum? A museum offers service for museum. Okay, let's select it.
you can take the options or missed. You'll get the Lace Study Centre should not be missed. You'll get the chance. However, like most museums, only a fraction of their collections are actually on display. But in the museum's unique Discovery Centre, you can take the opportunity to go behind the scenes and see parts of the collection that are not on display. All of these are...
So she was saying the answer would be Discovery Center, as she was saying. Like most museums, only a fraction of their collections are actually on display. But in the museums, Newco Discovery Center, you can take the opportunity to go behind the scene and see part of the collection. Okay, so that's why the answer would be Discovery Center. I mean, option C would be for question 19. Okay, let's move on to the next one at question number 20. Which place house all of the attractions mentioned? Which place is all of the attraction mentioned?
Attractions can be found under one roof at Sydney's famous Powerhouse Museum.
Sydney's Powerhouse Museum. So the answer would be option A for question number 20. Okay, let's move on to the next one, and that's all about part 1. Let's jump into part 3. I'm sorry. Okay, choose the correct letter, add to A, B, or C. Okay, let's read the question. What is Simon worried about? Simon worried about blah blah. Let's listen. Professor Francisco, a headache, an essay.
I do hope you are able to go.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
Hey, Simon. You look down. How are you getting on with your essay for Professor Jones?
Not very well, I'm afraid. I can't seem to get my head around it. I mean, it's such a wide topic that I really haven't got a clue where to start.
Oh, poor you. I'm actually free now, so I can give you a hand if you like. You have until the end of this week, don't you?
Yeah, I have to hand the essay in on Friday afternoon, but the professor wants to see my proposal on Wednesday morning.
Today's Tuesday.
So that means he's all about worried about his essay. So an essay would be the answer. That's why I already selected option C for question number 21. So let's move on to the next one. What does there's not like about Simon's notes? Not like about Simon's notes. What? They are in a list. They are in a speedogram. They are in a speedograph. Let's listen it.
So, that's tomorrow. You had better get a move on. Let's have a look.
Thanks. I'm just trying to brainstorm some ideas, but I haven't got very far.
Let me see. Well, firstly, I think that writing your ideas in a list like that really isn't going to help. Remember
So the answer I already selected option A for question number 22 because she was saying, well, firstly, I think that writing your ideas in a list like that really is not going to help. So that's what the answer would be option A. Let's move to the next one. Here's the another instruction for us. Complete the notes below. Write no more than no more than one words for each answer. So we are allowed to just write only one word. Okay, just keep it in your mind. Okay, so let's read this one. Motivation for participating in extreme sports. External influences. Let's highlight this one. Blah blah. Attention. Modern. Blah blah. Let's listen this first. Question number 23.
how we were taught to do So, what kind of things make people want to do extreme sports?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is the amount of media attention on the topic.
Media attention on the topic. So the answer we should write media. Okay. Now let's move to the next one. Modern blah blah. Let's listen it.
There are always stories about people taking part in the latest craze.
Exactly. Now, let's think about this more carefully. Why does so much appear in the media?
I don't know. I've never really thought about it.
Well, according to the published materials out there, it's a reflection of modern culture.
Of course.
Modern culture. So culture would be the answer. Okay. Culture would be the answer. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Internal influences. Let's highlight. Okay. Wanting to push themselves. Blah blah. Need element of blah blah.
Yes, you're right.
Now, what about the factors that come from within the person?
I suppose the most obvious thing to say is the adrenaline rush.
Right. But what else?
People would want to test their limits, which is a psychological need that all humans have.
And there's one.
Psychological need. So the answer would be psychological need. psychological. Okay. Let's listen it for
One
question
more
number
thing that we
56.
haven't added yet.
What's that?
What all animals do naturally. Compete, of course.
Right. It's the element of competition that drives.
It's element of competition. So competition will be the answer. Competition. 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 Okay. So now it seems like we are out of time. So just give me a few seconds to submit this one and let's start it again. Okay, just give me a few seconds to re-click each one once again because we are out of time. B, C, A, so in 17 the answer was B. Now we can select this one. Okay, but in question number 20 it was option. Okay, and in 20 it was A, option A. Okay, so let's move on to the next one and let's click them. Culture. Okay, here's the another instruction for us. No more than 2 words and a number for each answer. Okay, just keep it in your mind. Okay, where is question number 16? It was if. Okay, so here we already read that we are not allowed to write more than 2 words. We can just write 2 words, okay, and their number. So here is let's read them. Source for essay. Let's highlight this one. Author, and this was title. Maybe it's a problem with the website because I'm highlighting everything and everything is changing automatically. I don't know why it's happening to me all the time. Okay, so content and table. I don't know what is going to happen with me. Okay, let's highlight this one. Hans German and title. Just here's this column is for title, okay, and this column is for content, but it's already changed. Okay, let's listen it for title at question number 26.
Now listen. Actually, none at all. It's really bad, isn't it? But I just haven't had the time with my part-time job.
I know what you mean, but honestly, it's so much easier once you've read around the topic a bit. Did you get a copy of the suggested sources? Because if not, I've got one here.
No, I didn't. Thanks. That's a great help.
I tell you what, you write down the main points and I'll read it out.
Okay, go for it.
The first one's by a guy called Hans German, and it's called Crossing Borders.
It's called crossing border. So the answer would be crossing border. Crossing border. Okay. B-O-R-D-E-R. Crossing borders. Now let's listen for question number 28. Research project on about blah blah blah. Okay. In extreme sports. Okay.
It's a research project that was carried out on around 200 participants of extreme sports.
200 participants of extreme sports. So 200 participants would be the answer. 200 participants. Participants. Okay. Now let's listen for question number 29. Richard Bill. I read this one. And let's listen for the title at question number 29.
It's a really interesting read.
Okay, what next?
The next book was written by a man called Richard Bell and is called Motivation Theories.
Motivation theories. So the answer will be motivation theories. Okay. Motivation okay. Motivation theories. Okay. Now, okay, I'm sorry, someone is texting me. Just wait a few sec. I'm just replying him. Okay, I'm sorry to take the time from you. Okay, so now we're going to listen it for question number 30. Okay, so unknown, the writer is unknown. The writer is unknown, and we need to listen it. Let's listen it.
It gives an overview of thrill-seeking and why people choose to put their lives in danger.
Is it long?
Yeah, it's quite weighty. Why?
It's just I really don't have very long before the essay needs to be in. So, is there anything on there that would help me more quickly?
Well, I did find a podcast on the topic. I didn't write down the author's name, but they are called The Mind Files. And it's also about the theories and principles, but obviously doesn't go into as much detail as in a book.
That's absolutely fantastic, Therese. How can I ever repay you?
Oh, I don't know. A coffee, maybe?
Of course, my treat.
Okay, he was saying uh, the answer would be the mind files. Okay, as she was saying, she was saying. As she was saying, the answer would be why it's not working. The mind files. Okay, the mind files. Okay, that's all about part 3. Let's move on to part 4. So here's another instruction for us: no more than 2 words for each answer. Okay, just keep it in your mind. So answer to world problems cause solution. Okay, pollution of air. Let's listen this one.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Shall we start? Right, now, where did we get to last week? Ah, that's right. We were going to begin with a look at 3 of the world's most pressing problems, what has caused them, as well as looking at some of the many possible solutions. Top of the list is air, water, and soil pollution.
Air, water, and soil. So the answer would be water. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. New cause. So you're going to now listen for to know the cause, the reason. Okay. New alternatives to blah blah practice.
With an ever-increasing demand for food came the increased use of chemical pesticides during the late 1960s. Now, some of you may for food and soil. Top of the list is in demand for food came the increased use of chemical pesticides during the late 1960s. Now, chemical increasing demand for water and soil pollution. With an ever-increasing demand for food came the increased use of chemical pesticides during the late 1960s. Now, some of you may say that this isn't the ultimate root of the problem. Overpopulation is. But you would be missing out a very important step. The increase in population didn't in itself lead to the pollution of the air, water, and soil. What caused the problem in the first place was a move away from traditional farming methods.
So the answer would be traditional farming. Traditional farming. Okay. Traditional farming. Let me explain it to you. As you were saying, what caused the problem in the first place was a move away from traditional farming methods. So that's the answer will be traditional farming. Okay, let's listen it for question number 33. Blah solution, blah blah, and request for nature. Okay, let's listen.
Thanks to advances in technology. Ironically, the answer comes from past farming practices. Well, thankfully, the revolution has already begun. Organic farming and a respect for nature's cycles is the key to solving the problem.
So organic farming would be the answer. Organic farming would be the answer. Let me explain it to you. As he was saying, the revolution has already begun. Organic farming and a respect for nature cycles is the key to solving the problem. So organic farming would be the answer. Let's move on to the next one. Question number 34. Blah blah depletion. Okay.
In second place, though inextricably linked to the first issue, is the problem of the natural resource depletion.
Okay. Natural resource would be the answer. Natural resource. Natural resource. Resource. Let me explain it to you. As he was saying, in second place, though inextricably linked to the first issue is the problem of the natural resource depletion. Okay, now let's listen it for question number 35 to know the reason. Okay, previous bad blah blah practices. Let's listen it.
By that, I mean not only fossil fuels, such as oil, coal, and gas, but things we all too often take for granted, like fresh water and essential trace minerals in good quality soil. The main culprit, or guilty party here, is wasteful past management practices from those in power.
So management would be the answer. Management, let me explain it to you. As he was saying here, is wasteful first management practice from those in power. So the answer will be management. Okay, now let's listen for question number 36. Alternatives to fossil fuels such as hydrogen in car. Okay, let's highlight.
Even though we knew that there were only finite supplies of traditional energy sources, we behaved like we didn't. The phrase that springs to mind is ignorance is bliss. But what about a solution? Again, the process has already begun. We need to invest in new, less polluting technologies in our vehicles, which will also help with the first problem, and use more hydrogen technology.
Using more hydrogen technology. So hydrogen is already there, but there's missing technology. So we need to write technology. Okay, technology. Now let's move on to the next one. Question number 37. Unequal health distribution. Okay, and we are going to listen it for just to know the reason. Okay, blah blah and corruption of leaders. Let's listen it.
That is, produce car engines that run on water. That's the way forward here. Not good drinking water, of course, but saline water, which is in abundance. Finally, we come to the last problem, that of unequal wealth distribution. Every year, more and more land on the planet is owned by fewer and fewer people, which is in direct contrast to the world's growing population. And the reason for this? Quite simply, the greed and corruption of those in power.
The greed and corruption. Okay, so the answer would be corruption is already there, we can see on the screen, but the missing of greed. So the answer would be greed. Okay, so let's move on to question number 38 to 40. Okay, here's another instruction for us. Choose three letter A to F. Which three of the following are mentioned as potential obstacles to the solution? Three uh, three three potential obstacle to the solution. Let's highlight this one. Okay, new technology, the cost involved, research and development, unpopular changes, how laws are made, financial inequality. Okay, let's listen to this one.
Power, I'm afraid. The only way to solve this one, and it's a biggie, is for the countries of the world to work together in solidarity rather than against each other in isolation. Secondly, there's also the issue of popularity. It's the politicians of the world who need to make these changes. But they also need to keep their voters happy and may be reluctant to bring in new practices that may prove unpopular among voters at election time. But the biggest and most important challenge is making the world's monetary system fairer by making things more equal and balanced for all. This includes adopting ecological practices that benefit all, not just a company's profit sheet, and still of the rate of change. Now mean that they're without those I have presented are viable. It doesn't mean that they're without their own potential problems. Firstly, making these kinds of changes is going to be expensive in the short term, as we...
So he was saying making these kinds of change is going to be expensive in short time. So when you okay, so which one do you think we should select? He was saying making this kind of changes is going to be expensive in short term. So new technology, the cost involved. So I think option would be B. Should select. Okay, let's listen it for the remaining options.
Invest in the research and development of new technologies. Secondly, there's also the issue of popularity. It's the politicians of the world who need to make these changes. But they also need to keep their voters happy and may be reluctant to bring in new practices that may prove unpopular among voters at election time.
Okay, he was saying new practice that may prove unpopular. So unpopular change would be the answer. Okay, let's move on to listen for the remaining one.
But the biggest and most important challenge is making the world's monetary system fairer by making things more equal and...
So he was saying biggest and most important challenge is making the world's monetary system fairer. So what do you think we should select? Financial inequality. Okay, option F we should select. So that's all about our part 4 and the last one. Okay, so let's submit it and let's check out how much we scored today. Okay, I'm really satisfied and congratulations to you all. Okay, we got 9 out of 9. Thank you all. And so all answers are correct that you selected. Okay, there is no mistake today, as we was unsatisfied yesterday because we got 7 out of 9 yesterday, but today is our success. Okay, today is our success day, and we are really satisfied that we scored 9 out of 9. Okay, okay, that's all about today's lesson, and we'll meet again tomorrow with another lesson, and see you the next class. So bye for then. Bye.